Hey y'all, welcome to the Neighborhood weekly video podcast. I am super excited to be here with y'all. Y'all know what we do here. We get all up in your business, talking about self, family, friends, and finances. And pretty soon we're going to have some special guests. But first we got to get our house in order. As always, this is not a conversation about romantic relationships because we are minding our own business. That's right. And once we get that straight, the rest will follow. You know me. I'm your nosy neighbor, Inertia Justice. So go get your coffee, your sweet tea, or whatever it is you're sipping on. As a matter of fact, in the comment section, go ahead and tell me what you're sipping on. I wouldn't be your nosy neighbor if I didn't ask. And while you're there, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We post new videos every week, and I wouldn't want you to miss it. Now, I'm sipping on some Celestial Seasons peppermint tea, just to get ready for the holidays, child. You'll notice that I usually have a tea that has a calming or a clearing agent in them. It's because these teas open up the chest and they fight that nasty mucus. If you don't know it, mucus can wreak havoc in your body. And sometimes you may not even know it's there. But teas that have lemon, mint, eucalyptus are good at clearing that nasty mucus out of your body. So grab yourself a cup every now and then. I'll add the link for this one in the description in case you want to try it. Now, I have to do a disclaimer this week. I am not a mental health professional. Not. I am just a nosy neighbor that has experienced some things and want to share them with you, my neighbor. Now, I have listed some resources in the description below if what you hear today leads you to believe that you or a loved one may be suffering from depression. Even if you don't feel like you're suffering from depression, I'd still like for you to sit in because sometimes we need help identifying depression and sometimes we can help others identify depression. Because if it goes unrecognized, it can wreak havoc in our lives. I know today's topic is not a sexy one, but you are your sexiest when you are minding your own business. So, just in case, go grab you something to take notes with, or you can even use today's chat as a journal entry. Talking about depression seems to still be taboo and feared in our neighborhood. But we know that fear comes from a lack of knowledge. So let's learn about depression. What is depression? How do you identify it? How do you manage it? All right, what is depression? Let's start with a good working definition. The Oxford Dictionary defines depression as feelings of severe despondency and dejection. Used in a sentence, self-doubt creeps in and that swiftly turns to depression. Now do you see why I say this is a part of minding your own business? From this definition and the way it's used in a sentence, it tells you that depression doesn't necessarily have to be a continuous state of being. That you can doubt yourself and it could swiftly turn into depression. Now hold on, my loves. There are various degrees of depression. Not all depression leads to medication and lifelong therapy sessions, but if it does, it does. And we will do what must be done for our whole self. You know what we say, mind, body, soul. So, how do you identify depression? It is very possible that you have felt depressed at some point, but it's past because depression is an emotion. It's a mood disorder. Some people can clear or get past these emotional moods. Others may need a little assistance. As I said earlier, depression comes in various degrees. Now, according to Healthline, there are 6 major types of depression. There's MDD, which is major depressive disorder. And according to its criterias, you must experience a change in previous functioning. These symptoms must occur for a period of 2 or more weeks. At least one of the symptoms is either a depressed mood or a loss in things that you were interested in or got pleasure from. The next one is PDD, and that's persistent depression disorder. It's chronic, with symptoms occurring on most days for at least 2 years. So it's a persistent feeling of sadness, hopelessness, sleep problems, low energy, a change in appetite, difficulties concentrating, indecisiveness, a lack of interest in daily activity, decreased productivity, poor self-esteem, negative attitude, avoidance of social activities on a persistent basis. Then there's BDD, which we are more familiar with, which is bipolar disorder. And the symptoms of bipolar disorder includes a shift in moods, sometimes quick, like a shift in moods between energy levels, activity levels, sleep patterns, behaviors. A person with bipolar disorder may not always experience depressive or manic episodes. You also have seasonal affective disorder, which is SAD, and that has 2 different types. It's a winter type and a summertime type. The wintertime type of SAD is daytime fatigue, difficulty concentrating, feelings of hopelessness, increased irritability, lack of interest in activities, lethargy, reduced in sexual activity or interest, loss of weight, gain of weight. And the summertime SAD is just agitation, difficulty sleeping, increased sleeplessness, loss of weight, of course, and some suicidal thoughts. There's postpartum depression. Symptoms of postpartum depression vary from person to person, from day to day. If you've had postpartum depression, then you'll probably be familiar with that feeling of sadness or just crying a lot, and not even knowing why. Not being able to sleep, or that you're sleeping too much, that you can't stop eating, that you aren't interested in food at all. There's various aches and pains that happen that you can't explain. You don't know why you're anxious or you're angry. Your mood is changing suddenly without warning. You can't control your feelings. You can't remember things. You can't concentrate. You can't make simple decisions. You've just lost joy in everything. You feel disconnected from your body. You wonder why you're feeling this way and that you can't connect with your baby. You feel worthless or guilty, or you're just overall sad. And some people may call it the baby blues, but in some cases it can be severe to where you're having intrusive thoughts of harming yourself or your baby. 10 to 15% of U.S. women suffer from major depressive disorder during postpartum depression. And then there's psychotic depression, which is the last one. People with psychotic depression have symptoms of major depression along with psychosis. Some symptoms of major depression, which includes fatigue and irritability, difficulty concentrating, feeling hopeless or helpless, feeling of worthlessness or self-hate, social isolation, loss of interest in activities that you once found pleasurable. You know, you're sleeping too much, you're sleeping too little, you're having a change of appetite, you have a weight loss or weight gain, you have thoughts of suicide. The psychosis is characterized by a disconnection with reality. 25% of people who are admitted into hospitals are diagnosed with psychotic depression. Looking at these definitions should give you a good idea if you or someone you know may need to speak to a professional. And there's also online quizzes as well. I've linked those quizzes and some other resources in the description below. I know it may sound trivial, but I used to date this guy that had horrible mood swings. I was concerned. And so one day when he was going through what seemed to me to be a manic episode, I pulled up one of these quizzes and I casually just kind of asked him these questions. As it turned out, he has bipolar disorder with a borderline personality. Now, I couldn't make him accept the diagnosis. I couldn't make him get help, but I could use that information and make the best decisions for me, you know, minding my own business. Because once you have information, that's what you do. You use it to make the best decisions for yourself. So how do we manage depression? Of course, the first step is once you've acknowledged that you have some sort of depression, you need to speak with a healthcare professional. You can start to regulate your sleep. You can start sleeping on a schedule, like sticking to a pattern. You can adjust your diet to exclude all kinds of irritants like gluten, caffeine, lactose, anything that's not effective for your body's absorption. You can also have times that you exercise and that you are making sure that you're meditating. Now we know that increased heart rate can increase endorphins, which change your mood. Remember, this is a mood disorder. This is an emotion disorder. This is a disorder of your thoughts and your feelings. So when you're doing things like regulating your sleep, regulating your diet, making sure that you're managing your boundaries, making sure that you're recognizing your triggers and limiting your triggers access to you, then you are helping yourself with mental health. Like, some people don't realize that it goes that deep, but having enough sleep, exercise, diet, managing your triggers, managing your boundaries has to do with your mental health. No one talks about how it feels to actually manage those boundaries. Sometimes we feel a little depressed, a little lost, because when we start to manage boundaries, we lose contact with people that really filled up our day. But if they were just triggering us the whole time, what was the point? Well, that's it today, my loves. I just want to thank you for sitting and sipping with your girl. You know the neighborhood is better because you're in it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel right here on YouTube, The Neighborhood Podcast. Also on Instagram and Facebook, we're listed as @YourNosyNeighbor. There are always words of love and encouragement there, so you might just want to follow those pages just because. And if you love the show or you've getting something from it, please leave me some comments. Let me know so I can continue to bring you this content. You know I love you more.